Welcome to Unstuck with Hydro Air Wellness Lab, the podcast where real people share their real stories behind getting their lives, their bodies, and their mindsets back on track. I'm your host, Bretton Hunt, and in every episode, we dive into powerful conversations with athletes, weekend warriors, health and wellness professionals, and everyday people who refuse to settle. These are the breakthroughs, the setbacks, the mindset shifts, the moments that get us unstuck. So today, I am joined by a good friend of mine. Got to know him a little bit last year, and his name's Brandon Gordon. He's the head golf pro at Whirlwind Golf Club at Wild Horse Pass. It's one of the top golf courses in Arizona and really fun place to play. One of the best places, I think, in the state to play. Brandon's been around the game at every level, from being a young competitive golfer to golfing in college and to now leading players and running a high level operation day in and day out. So today we're going to dive into his journey, the mental side of golf, and the lessons that he's learned over the years from golf. So Brandon, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So before we get started, just introduce yourself a little bit, like what you do at Whirlwind, how you got into golf, like when did you start golfing and all that?
Yeah. So, work at Whirlwind Golf Club, awesome facility. I'm super blessed to be there. And so my main goal now is I run any instruction. So any private lessons, any group lessons, any clinics, any golf schools that we do on property. That's my role. Then I also do any club fitting.
Okay.
So if anybody needs new clubs, we carry Ping, TaylorMade, Titleist, and Cobra.
Cool.
And so the coolest thing is we do all our fittings outdoors, and then we use a launch monitor called TrackMan, which if you've watched the PGA Tour on TV, it's the little box that gives you all the numbers.
That's
so
sweet.
We're outdoors with all the technology as well. And then we're really brand agnostic. Like I tell students, I could care less if you get Ping or TaylorMade or Titleist. I don't care. Typically it's going to be a mix of some. It's not going to be just one company through the bag. So, and then my last role is social media. I've been told I'm decent on camera, and I don't mind, looking a little foolish sometimes and having some fun. I've really enjoyed this kind of journey of social media. It's been a ton of fun, and it's helped me be more successful in my career too, which I kind of assumed, but I didn't realize it would be so much fun doing it.
Yeah, social media is one of those things that, I do for our facility, and gosh, it's kind of hard sometimes, but at the same time, it's like kind of fun. And as we grow and as we get bigger, sometimes it's brought up in meetings like, oh, do you think you'll ever just kind of stop doing that? I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like doing that. It's kind of fun. So that's awesome. So when did you start golfing? Like, when was the first time you picked up a club? Was it a love at first swing, or when did you really fall in love with golf?
I mean, yeah, it was as a kid. So I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana until I was 9. And then my parents relocated here to Gilbert, Arizona. And so for me, it was, just something to do. I'd played hockey, and hockey was like my first passion. So I would play hockey all winter. Summertime came around, hockey, you have a break in the summertime. And it was like, well, I've got to do something. Very competitive growing up. Sports were always a thing. And I didn't love baseball as much. I'm getting dirty doing all that. So my dad got me a golf club, and it was basically, hey, hit this ball and go find it. Hit this ball and go find it. And so what I loved about it as a kid was this sport's hard, right? I can't master this. There's always something I'm working on. And so continued to play through my junior kind of time in Indiana. And then once we moved here to Arizona, we moved into a neighborhood in kind of Gilbert Mesa area called Augusta Ranch.
Okay.
And so they have a golf course there. And so for me as a 10-year-old at the time, it was a 2-block walk with my golf clubs. And I basically lived up there all summer. I had so much fun. I met some friends who I still talk to like to this day, that I played golf with when I was, 10, 11, 12 years old.
Wow. That's awesome. So were you like the kid that was just super competitive in it, or were you, as a 10-year-old, playing out? I imagine they're kind of a little older, at that club. So were you really competitive with them, or were you just kind of just soaking everything up that they were teaching you?
No, super competitive. Like the hockey background, like I just want to win. Super based on performance. And that's what kind of drew me into golf as a junior, was like, there's so many levels to learning the game. Like during my lessons, I'll talk a lot about when I was a kid. It was kind of like you kind of mess around and find out, like, I'm going to try this. What happens? Oh, cool. That happened when I tried that. And a little bit of that curiosity is awesome in golf because there's so many different ways to do one singular thing.
That's really cool. That's awesome. I was recently golfing with some friends, and one of the guys said, "You know why us guys like golf so much?" And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because by nature, most of us guys just want to fix stuff, right? And golf's one of those things, like you were saying, it's really hard to master. And there's even the professionals are always tweaking things and they're always doing different things. And so that's really neat. So, all right. So you golfed also collegiately,
Yep.
right? So what was that process like when you were golfing in high school, getting recruited to golf collegiately? How was that process? It's a lot different now.
Yes. Yeah. Back in my archaic days,
When the dinosaurs were
I had to send, I had to mail letters.
Oh yeah.
But no, I was naive in high school. I was a pretty good player in high school. And so I thought, well, I'm a good golfer from Arizona. Colleges will come find me. Now, with all the experience I have now, I go, man, I was so dumb back then. Like you've got to do the due diligence and reach out and connect with coaches and play in certain events. So I wasn't heavily recruited. I actually went right out of high school to Chandler Gilbert Community College for 2 years, played golf there. I had known the coach. A couple of my friends who were the year before me that I played high school golf with went there. So I was familiar with everybody and the team was really good. If you weren't shooting, qualifying was usually 36 holes, so 2 18-hole rounds. And if you weren't shooting 2 rounds in the 60s, you weren't making the top 5 to go to a tournament.
Wow.
So it was very competitive and it was awesome for my game because I became a lot better player because in college, it's a lot of fun to go play tournaments. You get to go to cool places. And back in my day, you got a per diem each day. And so you got to have some fun when you traveled. And so I went to Chandler Gilbert for 2 years. And then after that, I went to Adams State in Southern Colorado for 2 years, which is an NCAA D2 school. Now it's Adams State University, so it's like ASU, but not the good ASU.
Gotcha.
And up there was a lot different. It was kind of a smaller town. And so for me, I went from this uber competitive, like junior college team to basically a smaller D2 school that was like, if you could break 80, you were playing in every tournament. And so that was definitely a little culture shock for me. And the biggest difference in Colorado versus here in Arizona was playing in all these different types of conditions. Growing up as a junior golfer here in Arizona and playing junior college golf here in Arizona, the weather's really nice.
Yeah.
We don't deal with much wind. We really don't deal with much cold. And summertime, there's not college golf. So I'm kind of used to the heat.
Right.
But when we would go from Colorado to Nebraska or New Mexico or anywhere else, and it's 30 miles an hour wind and it's cold and it's maybe raining, that took me a little while to get used to.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Like just different elements of golf. So how do you golf in the rain or in the wind? Do you just adjust your swing just a little bit, like to accommodate for the how fast the wind's blowing, or what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, there's just different goals. So like in the wind, obviously I want the wind to affect the ball the least amount. So I'm going to try and keep the ball as close to the ground as I can, as often as I can. And then when it gets to short game, like I would rather be chipping into the wind versus downwind.
Sure.
So that I can stop the ball a little faster. Rain is tough. Rain is basically you're just trying to keep your hands and your golf grips as dry as you can. Like that's your goal and just get through it. Because as soon as your hands get like moisture on them or your grips get wet and things start slipping, you are lost. And now they have these rain gloves, which to me always kind of threw me off because I was never used to having 2 gloves, like a glove on each hand. I would just have 1 glove. And so rain was always difficult. And then the cold was a whole nother element because, again, being in Arizona, I'm not used to having 4 layers of clothing on.
Sure.
And not really feeling like I'm able to swing. And there's one event we played in up in, I think it was Aurora, Colorado at Blackstone Country Club. And it was like maybe 38 degrees and the wind's blowing 30 miles an hour.
Oh man.
And it was like end of October, beginning of November. And you couldn't get your hands to stop shaking while you're trying to hit a putt because you're just so cold.
Wow.
And it was miserable. And it's like good luck trying to hit decent putts when your hands won't stop shaking.
That sounds terrible.
Yes, no, it was awful. It couldn't have been done fast enough.
I just imagine in the rain when you're saying, hey, you got to stay dry and all that. I just imagine the QB wiping his hands on the towel and all that, trying to keep his hands dry if it's raining in football. So
yeah, and the worst part about golf is you're all by yourself. You don't have an athletic trainer or somebody to help you with that.
Right. That's crazy. All right. So going from high school and then to Chandler Gilbert,
Yep.
where you said was very competitive, then up to Adams State, where it was not as competitive, but still, D2 golf. What would you say the biggest shocker was to you from going from being a competitive golfer in high school, very good golfer in high school, to then college, junior college and then D2 college?
Yeah, to me, it was, I would say, just the conditions. Like, because in high school golf here in Arizona, I mean, I went to at the time a 5A school. And so we would play in the fall.
Mhm.
And so really the only condition I really kind of had to deal with was we do this thing called overseed where we rip up all the Bermuda grass, basically, we scalp it down and then replant ryegrass. So you play all fall on Bermuda grass. And then when you go to state championship, you play on ryegrass and the golf courses are very soft. So that was like the only real experience I had in different conditions. And then I go to college and it's like, oh, I'm going to play at a golf course in New Mexico that's at 5,000 feet elevation and the golf ball goes almost 10% further. Oh, I don't know how to account for that. Or I play a really cold round of golf or a really windy round of golf. What do I need to change? What do I need to do? And the biggest thing for me was how do you prepare for that? Because it's kind of hard to practice
Yeah.
30 miles an hour. Like I don't have control over the wind or the temperature or anything like that. So that was the biggest adjustment for me. And I would say learning curve for me, was just the different conditions and the different elements that you play in that you just have to kind of roll with the punches and be patient with.
That's cool. Did you win a state championship as a
No,
high school athlete?
no, we finished, I believe my freshman year, we finished third. We finished third 3 years and we finished runner up my junior year.
Oh.
So yeah, no, just couldn't get it done.
Weren't
Not clutch.
That's cool. Where'd you go to high school?
Desert Ridge in East Mesa.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So I had two awesome golf coaches in high school. I had Pat Herrera, who was our baseball coach at Desert Ridge, really well-known baseball coach. And then he coached golf in the fall. So we had a ton of fun with him. That was my freshman, sophomore year. And then my junior and senior year, we got Ben Brandow, who does a bunch of strength and conditioning stuff all over in the Valley. And he was my strength and conditioning coach all 4 years of high school. So I was already very familiar with him. And it's fun. I mean, I still connect with him and talk with him and hang out with him. So
that's way cool. So what would you tell a golfer in Arizona, being that you went, and played collegiately? And you said the hardest thing was dealing with the elements, right?
Yeah.
Because Arizona, we don't deal with very much element other than maybe heat if you're crazy and want to go golf at, when it's 120 outside.
Yeah.
So what would you tell a golfer in high school right now that is good, they want to go play collegiately? How would you help them be prepared for those elements or those changes?
Yeah, I mean, well, especially nowadays, like I coach so many high school players and I've coached at the college level now, for 3 years. And so for me, it's get out of your comfort zone, not just on the golf course, but out of the golf course too. Right. So play in some tournaments that are in, Southern California or Nevada or New Mexico. Like I'm not saying you got to go travel to Washington State or anything, but go somewhere where you're going to play on a different type of grass. You're going to play a different golf course that maybe you've never seen before, because a lot of the junior tournaments here in Arizona are at typically the same golf courses every year. And so if you play the same golf course when you were 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you kind of know what to do. You know the golf course, or maybe you've played it a bunch outside of that tournament. So for me, getting uncomfortable on the golf course is really where you kind of see what parts of your game are really lacking. And then it's, okay, cool. Now I can go practice that.
Okay. I like that. What would you say is the best way for young golfers now to get recognized by these colleges? Is it playing in these tournaments? Is it going crazy and being amazing in high school? How do these kids get recognized now?
Yeah, I mean, most of the time it's your tournament schedule. And so it starts with an organization called the JGAA, the Junior Golf Association of Arizona. Play in those. If you're starting to win a few of those or finish really high, the next step up from that is the AJGA, the American Junior Golf Association. That is the cream of the cream. Like that is the top of the top. If you're playing in those events, colleges will see you, but you also need to be reaching out to colleges. And then my biggest thing is, I want to set very small goals to get us to our end point. So if your goal is to play for ASU, shout out Coach Therms, you'll be dealing with him and Sutton. But how do we get there? We don't just get to ASU,
Right.
right? Hey, my goal this year is I want to win a JGAA event. Okay. How are we going to win that? Now let's look smaller.
Mhm.
Okay. You maybe only hit half of your fairways. Okay. We need to develop a practice plan that then works quite a bit on driver. And we're going to measure this over the course of, 3 months and 6 months. Or if putter's an issue, right now we're developing that into our practice plan. And so I love lofty goals. I love it. But we've got to be able to shrink that way down and make small measurable goals. Otherwise, the end goal of playing at ASU sounds daunting, like that's such a big task and can get overwhelming. And a lot of people won't tell you that journey to play golf at ASU is a tough journey. It's not all, like I say, rainbows and unicorns. Like there's some definite struggles to play high level golf.
That's cool. I like that. So when you're coach, you've coached a lot of different people now.
Yeah.
How long have you been a coach?
I've been a coach for a little over 10 years now.
It's 10 years. So you've seen a lot of different types of golfers.
I've seen everything.
What would you say, and it might be all over the board, but on average, what do you think the general golfer struggles with the most? Is it driving? Is it, short range? Is it putting? What's the hardest thing that people just have a harder time learning?
I think the biggest misconception that people have is the sequence of events that happens in the downswing. And that's what if you had asked me this probably 3 years ago, I probably would have said just club path, like path and face. They don't understand how to change it or what it means. But I think the sequence of events in the downswing, because so many other sports, we want to try harder. And the more we try, the more we get kind of our arms and hands involved. And the arms and hands are a very important part of the golf swing, but they are not the only one. And so I always tell students the order of events in the downswing of golf is the pelvis has to lead, and then the torso follows the pelvis, and then the arms follow the torso, and then the club's the last to get there. So it's pelvis, torso, arms, club. And I see so many students get that entire sequence like reversed or out of whack. And I go, listen, you can ask my wife. I'm not a very good baker. But if I forget to add flour until after I put the cake in the oven, nobody's going to want to eat that cake.
I like that. That's cool. So repeat that again. It's pelvic,
pelvis, torso, arm, club. And what I relate it to is if you were going to throw anything, if you're going to throw a baseball, a football, anything, what do? You wind up. What's the first thing that starts moving? You typically, if you throw right-handed, your left pelvis, your left hip's going to move. Then your left torso is going to move. Then your arm, then the ball's last. So it's the same sequence as throwing. And most of my students are very good at throwing things. But as soon as we get you from a very vertical axis, throwing something, to a tilted axis like this, where we hit the golf ball, all of a sudden that goes out the window and we don't know what to do.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good point. Yeah. Because I didn't play golf growing up. I played a ton of throwing sports, but yeah, you're right. That's kind of how you would throw something. So.
To me, it's always, when I see other athletes that I work with, whether it be baseball players, NFL players, hockey players, whatever, a lot of the times, in my opinion, why pitchers in baseball are better golfers is because they understand that sequence very well. And it's the same kind of footwork and motion to them. It's just now they have something in both hands. They don't just have a ball in one hand.
That's cool. I like that. So being a coach for 10 years, was that the plan after you got to Adams State? Was your plan to go play professionally? How did you end up landing on, hey, I want to coach. That's what I want to do now.
Yeah. So no, I mean, my goal was, I wanted to play pro golf. I wanted to be a pro athlete ever since I was a little kid. It started with hockey, banged up my knees. And so I said, okay, I can't do this hockey thing. Let's do golf. I love golf. Said, I'm going to be a pro golfer. Was delusional enough to think that I was good enough. And what they don't tell you is that, mid 60s on mini tours and state opens doesn't make very much money. And so we tried that, didn't make a ton of money. And I was like, all right, I'm kind of tired of, not making any money and eating, I always call soggy $5 footlongs back when they had those, and staying at, dumpy Motel 6s. And so, at the time I was helping a few of just my buddies that I was playing pro golf with their swing. And I had taken lessons my entire golfing career to try and become better. And so I would hit a shot and they'd go, how'd you do that? Like, what'd you change? And I would just say, hey, I did this, this, and this. And then they would do it and go, oh, they would hit a really awesome shot. And then I was like, okay, I'm just repeating kind of what I've been told or just what I feel I do. And so that was kind of my start into coaching. I really had no idea, that I would be where I am now 10 years later.
That's awesome. So what was your first coaching job? And once you said, okay, yeah, I'm not making as much money as I thought I would make. This is, reality sets in. Okay, this isn't going to happen anymore. What was the first job in golf that you did afterwards?
Yeah, after pro golf. So my first teaching job was actually while I was still either a freshman in college or senior in high school. I taught juniors at Augusta Ranch.
Okay.
And so that was before I'd even turned pro. Once I was done playing pro, my first kind of serious coaching job was, I had a job at Whirlwind, which was where I am now, but it was just as an assistant pro working in the golf shop.
Okay.
Right. You kind of have to earn your keep and work your way up the ladder. And so, I really got to work there, and then I worked there for about a year, and then I got the opportunity to work in a club fitting company. And so I went and took that opportunity, and that was when I kind of started to differentiate the club fitting and the teaching, and I started coaching right after that, which was a ton of fun. And the equipment and the club fitting was really cool and eye-opening for me because I had played at a very high level, and I thought I knew a lot about equipment. And my mind was just absolutely blown when I joined this company because I was like, oh, are you kidding me? This is like how much goes into a golf club. Like this was insane. And so my heart went out to like the average weekend golfer, like weekend warrior. Cause I'm like, oh, they have no idea. I go, and I always make this joke with students. I go, well, you have the latest iPhone. I go, oh, okay. Why do we have irons from 2000? Well, there's no difference. I go, so you're telling me there's no difference from like the original iPhone to the iPhone 17? Well, no, there is. And I go, oh, okay. I go, I promise you there's some differences from an iron from 2000 to 2026.
Wow. Yeah. Good point. I don't even know how old my clubs are. I'll have to go look. That's awesome. So you're working your way up, right? You're enjoying coaching. You're enjoying the club fitting aspect of it. What was it like when you first had that job opportunity, the interview, the application's open? Hey, we need a golf teacher. I imagine you weren't the head pro yet, right?
No.
It was, something else before that. What was that like when you were like, I'm actually a coach now, like an assistant coach or whatever they call them? What was that like?
Yeah, it was, to be very like honest and transparent, it was very nerve wracking because someone's trusting me with their golf game. Your first couple lessons, you're like, I go, man, I'm more nervous right now than I ever was like playing pro golf. I'm like, this is nerve wracking because the first few, especially, you go, hey, I know what I need him to do, but how do I communicate this so the student understands and learns? And I did one lesson. It was a chipping lesson, and students struggling with the shanks. If any of you golfers know what that is, it's a very scary feeling. If you don't know what it is, go to YouTube, type in tin cup and shanks. There's a great scene about it. You'll try anything to get rid of the shanks. And so he tells me he's struggling with this. He comes to the lesson and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, all right, what are we going to do for this? Okay. Hey, try this. Doesn't help. Hey, try this. Doesn't help. Hey, try this. Doesn't help. And as a young coach, internally, you're freaking out because you're like, oh my gosh, if I can't fix this guy, he's going to go tell everybody, like, I don't know what that guy's doing.
Yeah, don't go see Brandon.
Yeah, I was hitting it off the heel. He couldn't even fix that. How is he going to fix complex problems? 20 minutes into it, we were able to fix it and get him squared away. And I'm like, oh, thank gosh. Like, I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight. Like, emotionally, I am all over the place. I'm a mess.
Yeah.
But as a young coach and you don't have the experience, it's very nerve wracking. Now, cut to 10 years later, some of my students will go through that way more than I do because I'll have students who still struggle with shanks. And I go, yeah, that's okay. And they're like, they kind of take back. They're like, what do you mean that's okay? I just shanked the golf. I can't do that on the golf course. I go, it's fine. We're going to fix it. And they're just like, what do you mean that's okay? I'm like, we're about half an inch away from where we need to be. That's awesome. We're pretty close. And then they just stare at me and go, okay. And then we get it fixed. And then I go, okay, now we have 40 minutes left on our lesson. What do you want to do?
That's cool.
That's the hardest thing I found when I first started coaching was the internal freak out of, oh my gosh, this isn't working. What do I do?
I love that. So now being a coach for as long as you've been and you got all these different techniques and different drills and all that, what would you say separates you as a golf coach from maybe other golf coaches that are out there? What makes you special as a coach?
Yeah, I think for me, it's the simplicity I bring to it and the planning. So to me, every one of my students, we've got a plan, right? I have students who have never broke 100. I have students who consistently break 70. The student who consistently breaks 70, his plan is going to look much different than the student who can't break 100.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what happens, I always tell all my students what we're doing on the lesson tee or what you're doing, on the driving range to practice or in your studio at home to practice. At the end of the day, that has to translate onto the golf course because there's two things with golf. There's playing golf swing, which is when you come see me and we fix something in your golf swing, whether it be grip or club path or posture, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's playing golf, which is out in the golf course. Because I always joke, driving ranges are built completely flat and perfect. Well, no golf course I've ever played has been completely flat and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
There's all these uneven lies. They put these giant holes with sand in them in your way. Like they make it more difficult. And so it's very hard to teach a side hill lie on a flat driving range. So once we get to a level of understanding our golf swing and what our tendencies are, now we get to have the fun of learning how to actually play golf and kind of manage our game around the golf course. Because at the end of the day, why are you coming to take a lesson? Well, it's so that you shoot lower scores. So no matter how good my lesson is, if there's not progress and we don't see some lower scores or maybe some shots that you've never hit before on the golf course, you're going to go, what am I doing? This isn't working. So that's my biggest goal as a golf coach is, are we seeing what we're doing on the practice tee translate to the golf course?
Like that. What would you say? You mentioned it a little bit, like the difference between someone who's never broken 100,
Yep.
guilty, versus someone who is consistently breaking 70, right?
Yeah.
What separates those types of golfers from the average golfer, right? Like what makes, because you're a coach, you coach a lot of kids, a lot of people that have big aspirations. What is it that separates those ones from just the average, like, hey, I just want to break 100 and have fun?
To me, it's a little bit of a simple answer, just dedication, right? Like, and it depends. I always say like what we have going on in life, right? Most of my guys who are around our age, like 30 or 40 and have families and are building their career, don't have a ton of time to spend, 15 to 20 hours a week practicing golf.
Right.
So most of my students who see big success are either high school or college players who, I remember when I was high school and college player, I had tons of time. I had no responsibilities. or some of my retired students who, again, they gain back a ton of time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is time, right? Do you have, and it doesn't have to be 60 hours a week like some PGA Tour players, but, if you give me 10 to 15 hours a week of practice, I promise you, and we're doing it with quality practice and sticking to our plan, I promise you'll see results. Like that's not non-negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the biggest thing I see that separates your typical like weekend player from someone who is setting out to say, I want to break 90 for the first time, or I want to break 80 for the first time, and actually doing it quickly.
This dedication is, excuse me, the consistent steps that you have to just continually take, and just probably with anything in life, right? If you want to be good at anything, it's going to take consistency, it's going to take dedication, and just doing the small things that a lot of most other people probably say, I'm not doing that today.
Yeah, it goes back to like, I mean, you see these guys on TV on the PGA Tour, and I always think of like the iceberg like picture where it's like everybody sees the like 20% of the iceberg, but you don't see the 80% underneath the water that takes all the work. Because they go, man, it must be nice. They just play golf for 4 days, and Rory wins Masters and makes $4 million in 4 days, and they go, oh, that must be nice, man. I wish I did that. And I go, you have no idea the amount of work that he's put in months and years before.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, think of Tiger Woods when he was, 16 or however old he was making the PGA Tour. It's like you have no idea what that guy went through to become as good as he was
And he's
and
been
is.
fairly transparent because you can Google like what his daily routine was from like 2000 to 2005.
Yeah,
And it was 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. golf or gym every day.
crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
But it pays off. So,
If that's what you want to do,
yeah,
yes. If you want to be the best in the world, it's going to require a little bit of effort and a little bit of time.
that's right. So, golf is one of those things where I joke with my friends, like, and nothing will put me in a better mood or a worse mood than how I'm doing in golf. And I talk to we have some kids that go to our facility that are golfers, and I'll talk to them and just like, yeah, how'd you shoot? Oh, I didn't shoot very well today.
Yeah.
And they're discouraged. They're frustrated, right? Because golf is one of those things you think you're putting in a ton of work. And then, like I said earlier, it's one of those things you're constantly trying to fix. And so
Yeah.
you fix something and then something else pops up, right? What do you tell younger golfers or just people in general? It's like, Brandon, I've been doing this for however long. It's not getting fixed. Or when I fix this, then this happens. Or if I do this, this happens. I feel stuck. Right.
Well, welcome to getting good at golf. You want me to call up Jordan Spieth for you? Jordan Spieth was playing very good golf. Putter went a little cold, and all of a sudden he's struggling.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of getting good at golf, right? Is there's not, okay, I've got this figured out. I'm good.
Mhm.
Put it on cruise control, right? Hey, I've got driver figured out. Oh no, my chipping's gone bad now. Oh, hey, I got my chipping figured out. Oh gosh, I'm 3-putting everywhere now. I got to figure out my putter. And I always joke because I go, man, it's a nice job security for me.
Yeah.
Because the better you get at golf, I go, if you look on TV, like Scotty Scheffler's the best player in the world. He has his coach with him almost every week. So if he needs a coach every week, if you can't break 90, I think you need a coach too. But it's golf's hard, man.
Yeah.
And the big thing I tell a lot of players is there was an awesome interview with a college golfer one time, and they asked him, they said, what's the hardest part about golf? Like just as a sport in general.
Mm-hmm.
And his answer I thought was awesome because I feel the same way. He goes, I have to practice. Like my life depends on it. Like I need to practice golf as bad as I want to breathe. He goes, and then when it becomes competitive and I have a tournament, or for my everyday players, like, if I'm playing against my buddy, I have to act like I don't care at all. And he goes, so I have to go from one extreme of caring so much and practicing and putting all this time and effort in to that when the competition goes and what I've been dreaming of, that I have the attitude of I don't care. And he goes, that's so difficult to go from one extreme to the other.
Who said that? Do you know?
I'd have to look it up. I believe he went to Texas A&M.
Wow.
It was pretty recent. It was like a year or two ago. But it was so like well put together that I was like, he's 100% right. Because a lot of my students, if they come to a golf school, I'll always ask them, I'll say, hey, remember back to your best round you ever played. I go, what were you thinking about? Were you thinking about your checklist of 10 things before you hit the golf shot? Or were you just kind of stepping up and hitting it and being a little bit more of an athlete? And they go, yeah, no, I wasn't thinking about anything. I go, yeah, good. You were kind of, I always call it like in the zone.
Yeah.
Like when you kind of black out a little bit, it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? Which usually most golfers wake up on about 18T,
Mm-hmm.
one hole too early, and then they make like an 8 or 9 on the last hole and they could have beat their best score. But it's so true. I tell students when we go play, if I do a playing lesson with you,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing some of the answers I hear from players who don't break 90. There was one student, won't name his name. He might know who, he knows I tell this story, but he, if you've played Whirlwind, we're on cattail number 8.
Okay.
Pins back right, tucked behind the bunker. Ball's a little below his feet. He's a right-handed golfer. And we have about 185 yards out. Like he hit it, not great drive.
Mm-hmm.
So he sets up to this thing and I go, what are we thinking here? What's our plan? He goes, well, I think if I can hit 4 hybrid, it's a little below my feet. It'll cut just a little bit. And so I'm going to aim a little left. I'm going to open the face. I'm going to cut across it a little bit. I'm going to give it a little more spin so that it lands into the ridge. It hits, it kind of spins, and then it should take the other ridge and go right next to the hole. And I go, wow, that's a great game plan. we made a 7 last hole. Can we just get the ball somewhere near the green?
Yeah.
And he goes, what would you do from here? I'm like, exactly what I just told you to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the pin's back right. I'm probably not going to miss right, but my goal is to get it somewhere near the middle of the green or the left side of the green because I didn't hit a very good drive. I'm just kind of trying to avoid double bogey. Mm-hmm. And he goes, you wouldn't be trying to hit it to like 5 feet? And I go, no, not from here. So a lot of it is that where I go timeout. I go, now, if you were just rushing to play at the end of the evening, trying to chase sundown,
mm-hmm.
would you think those 8 things? No. You'd grab hybrid, you'd step up, you'd hit it. Mm-hmm. I will always make the argument that for a lot of golfers, they would be better off just doing that than over analyzing every little detail and then psyching themselves up. Because what typically happens is they'll do that, hit their first shot really bad. It's the first thing they do. Give me another ball. Give me another ball. Okay, got another ball. Now, there's zero thought that goes into the second golf ball. Mm-hmm. There's zero expectation because they just hit the ball so bad. They don't care where it goes.
As long as it's better.
Well, it's probably going to be better, right? Yeah. Unless you swing and miss, it's usually not going to be much worse. But there's zero expectation. There's zero kind of game planning. You're a little more of an athlete. Mm-hmm. And so what happens on the second ball? They usually hit it great. And they go, see, why can't I do that the first time? And I go, your mindset on those 2 shots were total opposites. That's why.
I love that. Yeah. When you shared that quote, the thought that came into my head was watching the Masters recently. Rory on 18, he's got it locked up, right? He's been playing really well. Scheffler's on his heels.
Yep.
Scheffler finished well, right? But Rory, he's just I think it was just par, right? I think he just had, as long as he finished par.
I think he can make bogey.
Yeah.
He said to avoid double.
It was very simple, right? All the announcers, everyone's just like, oh yeah, Rory's got it. First shot goes way right into the trees. And you're thinking, oh.
Not only that. So if you go watch Rory, he looks at that fairway probably 8 times before he actually pulls the trigger on that golf swing.
Yeah.
So he is nervous. He is not comfortable. I go, if you see a high level golfer and they're looking at their target more than twice, they are not comfortable over that golf ball.
Yeah. And it's in the trees. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, here comes I'm rooting for the
playoff. Yeah.
That's what I want, right? I'm like, sweet, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, some excitement.
Right. But you're right. Because when he goes into the trees, it's an immediate shift. He's not freaking out. He's not. And he's just like, hey guys, get out of the way, and it's like you said, he's not thinking, okay, well, I hit it into the tree, so I've got to do this and I got to do that so I can get it onto the green, or he's just like, I just got to get it out of here. Right. Hits a great shot and sets him up for the win.
Yeah.
Right. And I think if you apply that in life, right, where we all go through hard things and sometimes we find ourselves in the middle of the trees or in a bunker or something. And rather than just, get pissed off and upset, right? Like, we'll see why I did it last time and it's not working out. And it's like you said, it's a mindset. It's just like, okay, I've just got to get it as close to the green as I can. I just got to get back on the fairway. I just got to, shift just a little bit and take those smaller steps to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's very hard to do though.
It is.
Especially when you're in the middle of it.
It is. Yeah. And then you look at Rory and these other professionals, you're like, well, that's why they're professionals. They've been doing this for a long time and that's what they do. Right?
I promise you they're very good.
Who's the best golfer you've seen, live?
Seen live in person? Not going to a golf tournament because I won't count those.
Okay.
Would probably be Justin Rose.
Where'd you see him?
I saw him down in Indian Wells, California, Southern California. We were doing a golf school, and he was the pro that was brought there, and he blew me away. There were these baskets out there that were, one of them was 30, one of them was 40, one of them was 50, one of them was 60. And he steps up, hits this first low wedge shot right in the basket at 30. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. This is a couple years after being removed playing pro golf. I'm like, that's pretty good. Okay.
Yeah.
He goes, all right, let's hit the 40-yard one, hits it, dunks it in there. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, this is impressive now. He goes, I don't like 50 yards. 50 is kind of an awkward one for me. Hits it. And as soon as he hits it, he goes, that's not good. One hops and ends. And I'm like, cause he was trying to fly it in. And I'm like, okay, stop it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, I'm done. Like, but I go, to be able to have that control over your wedges is so impressive to me.
That's amazing. Wow. And then what's the best golf course you've ever played? You know, you don't have to say Whirlwind because you work there, but there's a ton of really good golf courses around the country. What's your favorite, best one you've ever played?
I would say other than Whirlwind.
Sure.
Whirlwind's the best. But if I remove myself from Arizona, there was this property I used to go to when we had our club fitting company up in Washington State called Gamble Sands. Mm-hmm. It is such a cool environment. Like the golf course is phenomenal. It's so much fun. David McClay kid who designed Bandon Dunes designed the course there. So it's link style. It's really awesome. It's basically on this family's like apple and cherry orchard, basically.
Oh, wow.
And you're between the mountains and the Columbia River in central Washington. And it is so pretty. And it's so much fun. And now I believe they have 2 18-hole courses and a par 3 course. Wow. So when I went, there were just 18 holes. And then they built the par 3 course. And then they built the second 18 course. So I tell everybody, if you want, Arizona, if you want to get out of the heat, go check out Gamble Sands in Washington because it is phenomenal.
Gamble Sands in Washington. All right. Sweet. Okay. So one of the things that we do, and we've got introduced to through the facility that Bryce and I are a part of, and it's really focusing on recovery.
Yeah.
How important is recovery for golfers? And what type of recovery do you think is maybe overlooked by golfers that they should maybe take a little more seriously?
I would say, I'm going to throw you for a loop on this one. I would say skincare.
Okay.
Just because, and I'll talk to myself on this one, because my wife's been on me forever and she lets me have it if I come home and she knows I don't put my sunscreen on. Mm-hmm. But skincare, like you're out in the sun for 4 hours. Like most of my guys never put sunscreen on. I can't tell you the number of players that when I worked in the golf shop would come in after 4 hours and would just be bright red. And I go, why not? Like, why would you not put sunscreen on? I know for me, a lot of it was, I used to say like sunscreen's for women and small children. I'm a man. I don't need sunscreen. Mm-hmm. Now my face is starting to show my age a little bit. And I'm like, all right, I guess I got to take care of this. And I got to do a better job of, taking care of myself. And what's cool, when I first came to your facility at Hydro Air, I'm kind of a little gimmicky and you guys are talking about the red light bed. And I'm like, it's a scam, man. Like, I don't need that. Like cryo chamber, I know about that. Like, that's awesome. I'm like, red light therapy bed. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, what's that going to do?
Sure.
Fix my skin, whatever. But then I, late at night, I'm like doing a bunch of research on it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, this is awesome for, at a cellular level for my skin recovery. I'm like, oh, this is really good. So that was something that I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, I definitely need this.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest too. When I first heard red light, I'm like, come on guys, like really red light? That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll say this, if I do it consistently, I do feel different.
Yeah.
And there's tons of different people that have come in, done it, and the results are all over the board because like you said, it gets on the cellular level and someone might be dealing with back pain and they're just like, hey, I get on there and it zaps that pain and I feel so good for the next, 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And, if I do it, consistently, my back pain's minimized. Or we have people say that I got migraines and it's helping with my migraines or shoulder pain, neck pain, whatever it is. Right.
Yeah.
And I think, that was something as a kid, as a high school athlete, I wasn't good enough to play collegiately or anything, but I never thought about recovery ever. It was just like, oh, my shoulder hurts. All right, I'll put some ice on it, or physical therapist will put some tape on it and I'll be fine. Right. But I think now, especially golf, when you're out in the heat, you're swinging, I did a lesson with you and I went home and I was like, my hips and my obliques hurt, they're just different muscles. Right. So if you're allowing those things to recover properly, I think that definitely helps relate or translate to your golf game as well, whether it's golfer's elbow or just tight hips or whatever it is. So,
yeah. And I always tell students, like, you should never get injured playing golf. Like I can't tell you the number of students who go, yeah, like I've got, a few herniated disc or I have back issues when I play. And I go, well, that means you're not doing it properly. Like something's off. And I've had students come to me who are like, yeah, I have back pain when I play.
Mm-hmm.
And we finish a lesson and they're like, dude, my back doesn't hurt at all. Like, yeah, you're actually doing it properly now. Now, to your point, obliques and muscles, like that might be a little sore muscle wise, but I'm like structurally, like we should not be hurting ourselves swinging the golf club.
I love it. So what's your favorite thing over at the facility? What's your favorite thing to do there?
I can tell you my least favorite is the cold plunge.
There you go. Yeah.
But I will say this, my least favorite in the moment is the cold plunge.
Mm-hmm.
The day after, my favorite is the cold plunge because I'm like, oh, I don't feel sore at all. To me, I think my favorite and what's helped me the most is the anti-gravity treadmills. Like those are awesome. Like having bad knees and I've had back issues too. And so running has always been like a nothing for me. And so I would have to default to like riding the bike,
Mm-hmm.
which I hated riding the bike. I cannot stand it. I've went to so many cycle classes and I just want to like just walk in oncoming traffic after a cycle class.
Ride that bike. Oh,
Yeah, well, stationary bike.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, but take that stationary bike and just throw it through a window or something. I hear you.
But so the anti-gravity treadmill is awesome because I'm like, oh, I can actually run again. Like, and I don't have to deal with the pain after the day after.
Yeah.
Like this is awesome. So that's been my favorite, that I've had at the facility.
That's awesome. All right. One more question for you before I let you go.
Hmm.
So title of the podcast, Unstuck, right? Where you can be stuck in all aspects of life, physically, financially, spiritually. I mean, you name it, you could feel stuck.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone that is just wherever they are in their life right now, they're feeling stuck? What would you tell them to help them get unstuck?
Oh, that's a good question, man. It's a deep question. Get unstuck. I would go back to like goal setting, like, and just set the smallest goal you can, right? Like the tiniest thing and make it be able to be measured. And then my other advice would be, tell either a close friend, your spouse, somebody that will hold you a little bit accountable about it. Because we naturally, just as humans, want to take the easy route.
Yeah.
Like if I have this route and one's a lot harder, one's easier. And at the end of the day, they get me close to the same goal. We're taking the easy route every day. That's why I joke all the time about like Uber Eats. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm way too cheap. I will never pay. I will always get in my car and go drive. But we've made life so easy.
Yeah.
So I would say set very small goals and then tell a spouse, a friend, a mentor, something that will hold you accountable to that. Because if you achieve those little tiny goals, it might not feel like a lot in that first, week or even two, but 2 months down the road, you're going to see big progress changes.
I love that. Just small steps that eventually snowball into other bigger things, right?
Yeah.
I love that. Hey, Brandon, thank you for taking some time out of your day to join us today. I really appreciate it. So before you go, one more thing. How can the listeners find you if they want to book a lesson with you or just see what you're all about? How can they find you?
Yeah, I'd say if you want to, find out about me and kind of see my coaching style and how my personality is, Instagram or Facebook are probably the two best ways. On Instagram, it's Coach Gordon Golf. On Facebook, just Brandon Gordon. You'll see a bunch of my videos on there. I'm pretty simple and straight to the point. I like to have a lot of fun though. I'm not going to be, super uptight about it. We're going to laugh. We're going to hit some good golf shots. We might even hit one or two bad ones. And then if you want to book anything, you can book on there as well, or you can go to whirlwindgolf.com. If you click on instruction, you'll see our entire instruction team. We've got an awesome team. Like I am so proud of the guys under me. They are doing such a good job. A couple of them might even be getting almost as good as me, if not better than me. And it's really cool to see them grow. So whirlwindgolf.com, click on instruction. You can see everything we offer from individual lessons to club fitting to clinics to golf schools.
Awesome. Sweet. Yeah. Give him a follow, guys. He's a lot of fun. I've only done one lesson with him. I'm going to get another one in. And I will say that one lesson I went and played and you helped me with my grip, just something really simple. And then that thing you were talking about, pelvis, torso, arms, and then came the club. And not every drive was perfect by any means, but I think I only lost like 2-3 balls
There we
for the
go.
whole round. And I was very happy, so he's a great coach. He's a lot of fun, good guy. Give him a follow, go check him out. But thank you again for joining us. If this episode resonated with you, please share it out with people, get it out. That's what we want this podcast to be, something that can be inspirational and help people wherever they are in life. So